Hey folks, Adam here, and we're looking at this. It's the Robotin R2. We're going to look at a device that's hopefully going to make it to where you don't have to lug around a heavy vacuum cleaner. We're gonna find a device that's hopefully gonna clean up spots for you, and we're gonna tell you what works and what doesn't work so you can make an informed decision if this is a product you wanna support. Let's go ahead, we're gonna check it out, or we're gonna kick it off right about now with a video about its performance, its maintenance, its use, where it exceeds expectations, and if there's any limitations on this product. So folks, this thing is really cool. Right out of the box, you get the docking station with 3 clearly marked tanks. The clean water tank, the dirty water tank, and the solution. It's a really good design. The robot at its core has a transparent skylight so you can see the extraction process as well. I love that. And you can watch it while it runs. So, with 2 swappable modules, they're bundled, a carpet wash module and a deep vacuum module, this thing is perfect. It attaches tool-free with a satisfying click, and you can easily swap modes. All right, folks, so the setup is very straightforward. You're gonna download the app just like I did, connect the Wi-Fi, pour some water into the clean water tank, add the solution, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Then the LED status light will show the light go from blue to red as it warms up. No problem there. The app also supports mapping, multi-floor profiles, scheduling, no-go zones, nothing revolutionary, but it's clean, easy to use, and I can understand the app. All right, folks, so we started on an everyday rug, an 8x10. No big deal there. It uses the standard hot water scrubbing. It has brushes that lift. It's going to have a pump that applies the solution, and it's going to go ahead and use suction to extract everything to make it real clean. But here's the cool thing. It uses AI technology to go ahead and go back and forth until the area gets clean. So with a lot of other robot vacuums, they're just kind of passing over everything, and some spots will stay dirty. But because this uses the AI, kind of detection, it's going to go back and forth until the area is clean. It's really cool to see. Now on top of that, it will go back, it'll dock, it'll refill the solution and the water when needed, empty out the dirty, so you're not doing anything there. This really makes the workflow easier for your everyday household. All right, folks, let me tell you a little bit about drying. Now the drying process was pretty interesting. First and foremost, it doesn't get the carpet completely bone dry, but that's probably a good thing. Now it uses warm air at about 110 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 43 degrees Celsius, and it did a really good job of drying everything off that was kind of dry to the touch, but just slightly damp. Now if you're in a dry environment, that's gonna dry completely in a few minutes. If you're here, like in Florida, where it's a little more humid, it's gonna take maybe an hour or 2 to completely get dry, but you can still walk on it. And in our tests, we rub it with a tissue, and there was pretty much nothing left on the tissue. So that's a very good example. I was very happy with the performance. Spills are really where this thing was fantastic, where it really outperformed the competition. Very happy with it. We tried some Coca-Cola, we tried some coffee, some chocolate syrup, even some simulated pet urine, so don't blame Biscuit, this wasn't his. And you know what, it did a great job in every case. Multiple passes, making sure to remove the visible stain. It just did a good job being able to look at the stain and keep working it until it was gone. The pet urine took a couple extra passes, but we were able to just mark it in the app and it went to it and it cleaned everything up pretty fantastic. And that is really something that other devices won't do, is be able to identify a real mess, go back to it a few times, and make sure it doesn't stop working till it's absolutely crystal clear and clean. So the real world takeaway is that, if you got a set in stain, something really difficult, it might take some additional detergent or a couple more treatments, but ultimately this did a better job than I've seen in other robot mops and vacuums in terms of really getting those stains and the dirt and debris out of your rug. Now folks, switching over to the vacuum module only took a matter of seconds. That made me very happy. And with 115 air watt power, this thing is super powerful compared to the competition. I love the fact that we are able to get up our cat hair, cat food, even some cat litter. It just did a great job of that. You know, we've got 3 cats and a dog, so being able to get a full day's cat hair without it getting tangled or anything like that has been a very positive aspect to this fantastic little device. In addition, the roller stayed clean, so that's cool. Didn't have any problem with like coffee grounds or peanut shells or crumbs. We tried it on a few things, seemed to work very well. The AI spots got rid of the AI allowed it to get rid of those dense debris. They just did a good job doubling back automatically. Bottom line is this is a serious device. It isn't quite as powerful as an upright, but man, it is not a toy by any means. This thing gets up what you need it to get up. So one of my complaints about a lot of robot vacuums is that they bump into the walls, they suck up clutter, they're always vacuuming up your cords and stuff like that. So we're gonna have to look and see, how did this device do when it came to kind of smartly navigating my house? Was it able to get around most obstacles? Did I have to constantly stop and see what it got stuck on, right? So overall, it did a great job. It wasn't bouncing into things, it wasn't getting stuck, and I didn't notice it ever kind of tangling up in a wire or anything like that. We've all had those old robot vacuums that seem to suck up everything in sight. This just did a little bit better job of just like avoiding the obstacles, so you don't have to go and pick it up and put it back on the floor, pull out a USB-C cord, that sort of thing. The no-go zones, actually very simple to set up in the app too, so if you've got an expensive rug or you got something that you don't want vacuumed, this does the job for you and you don't have to worry about it. Now, of course, like any robot vacuum, any robot mop, you have to be careful of, small cables that are on the ground. It cannot see it, or really dark objects. But I would say this does as good a job as anything that I've had the chance to test. Of course, folks, maintenance is a real thing, and you're going to want to maintain any vacuum that you have. That way, it just stays running at peak performance. Empty the dirty water tank after each heavy clean. Rinse the filters, periodically clean the hoses, the brush heads, etc. The anti-tangle design system seems to reduce the hair maintenance, but it doesn't completely eliminate it. So you're going to want to check the rollers about once a month. And if you've got hard water, it's probably good to descale the heating element every once in a while. We all know that hard water can kind of just get caught up on anything. All right, folks, so let me tell you about the limitations as well. I think that's fair to do. Now, first and foremost, this doesn't dry automatically. It takes a little bit of time in a humid environment for your rugs and things to dry. It's no big deal, but that's a legitimate concern. Then we also got to point out this does take power, and it's a larger base unit. So you're gonna need a little bit of space to go ahead, let it dock, let it do everything that it has. Now, if you have things like very expensive rugs, like an antique rug, anything like that, of course, you're gonna want that handled by a specialist, maybe washed and cleaned by hand, so do that accordingly. Of course, we did use a prototype model as well, and with a prototype model, things can change. Firmware may update, spare parts availability. You're going to want to check out all those things, the long-term reliability, before you make your purchase. So what's the bottom line? Well, the Robotin R2 is an ambitious device, and in our tests, it worked very effectively. I was very happy with it. I like the things that they're doing here. It cleans deeply, it handles spots and spills, it vacuums like a pro, and it navigates very reliably. I was pretty happy with the navigation. I thought that was pretty cool. If you have lots of carpeting, pets, and want to avoid manual carpet cleaners, this is a very compelling automation upgrade that I think you're going to dig for sure. All right, folks, so the considerations that you should think about before you buy. It does need some space and maintenance, and it won't replace a professional deep cleaning. I don't think anything will. The price is probably going to be in a premium bracket, so you need to consider that with this Kickstarter, you have to weigh it against your time saved and the convenience. For busy families and pet owners, I would say this is a strong yes. It's a really cool device. For occasional cleaners with small rugs, maybe it's a little overkill, because this is a very robust device. So folks, if you want one of these, we went ahead and we linked to the Kickstarter and we linked to the website, all in the description below. It's easy to click it, go ahead and check it out. We appreciate you checking out this video, us giving our honest 2 cents about this cool product. Again, the Robotin R2 really does a great job with cleaning up spills. It's not too loud. I like the swapping of modules. It was a very easy thing to do. It does take up a little bit of space, and it won't replace a professional cleaning by hand on more expensive old school rugs. But yeah, if you're looking for something that is convenient for pet owners, if you're looking for something that is automated and has a very good sensor for picking up those spills, dust, debris, and even like, cat food and stuff like that, this is gonna be a great device for you. We highly recommend you go check it out. You won't be disappointed. I love and appreciate you. Wanted to give this video a little extra time, a little extra concern, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, my friends.